Alright, so these videos are going to look a little bit different than what you're used to because I'm just going to pull examples right out of the textbook here. Um, Looking at, right now I'm on page 535 in section 7.2. And so it's just easier, I think, to pull actual the graphs right out of the book because they're already pre-made for us and they have good questions. Okay, so as we look at this next graph, this example, this is what we would call a bar graph. And if you look at the graph itself, there are two axes, right? You have a vertical axis and a horizontal axis, kind of like the XY axes that we saw when we did graphing before. Each axis represents some sort of information. The horizontal axis represents the months. In our case, the months January through June. Okay. The vertical axis, this is needs to have clearly stated description. It's the sales in millions of dollars, and of course the graph itself has a title called Monthly U.S. Book Sales. So just from that, I kind of understand already what this represents I don't need a paragraph or anyone telling me. I can just read those three things and I understand that this is the number of books, or the amount in millions of dollars spent in books in the United States, okay, each month. And so that's those are pretty clear, a pretty clear description. So the questions that are being asked here, we'll just go through them one at a time. What were the sales in February? Well, February is in the graph clearly listed. It looks like 1,013. Okay, and it's easy to just write down 1,013, $1,013, but that wouldn't make much sense because that's in the entire U.S. Notice the units here, it's in millions of dollars, and so we're really looking at $1,013 million. Alright, so let me write that out. I'm going to cover this up for a moment so I can write on something without ruining the textbook. So part A, it says $1,013 million. Okay, so there's a couple different ways you could write that out. You could just write it out this way, 1,013 million, and then have the dollar sign there. You could write it out 1,013 million dollars. Okay, that would be okay as well. Or another one would actually be to write out the full number. Be 1,013, and then million needs a bunch of zeros. Right? You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros to get a million. Right? The first set here, these are the tens, hundreds, thousands, or I'm sorry, the ones, tens, hundreds, and then the thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and then you get the millions place. So as long as that 3 ends up in the millions place, you're okay. But notice I need another comma in there. So it's really, 1,013 million is the same as 1,013 million. If that makes sense. And then I need my dollar sign in front. Okay. Now your textbook is going to like that first one. I would take any of these, of course, but the first one's probably the easiest one to write down. Okay. So from there, just keep that in mind, and we're going to see that quite a few more times here, so I'm not going to write them all out, but just so you can kind of see how to represent that number. Okay. Now, this next part, it says, during what month were sales the lowest? So this is what the bar graphs are very, very nice for. You can get a very quick idea of what the lowest number is, right? Just by the lengths of the graphs. You don't have to read off all the numbers and compare them. You just look at the smallest bar, and it's April. So that's an easy one. During what month were sales highest? I can go right away, January, because that's the tallest bar. Okay. What were the sales in June? Well, June, you have 1,095, but again, that's in millions of dollars, so it's $1,095 million. What was the amount of increase in sales between April and May? Well, from April to May, it went up from 918 to 1,087. So here, we're going to need to do a little bit of work and subtract those. So this is for part F. In part F, you do the bigger number minus the smaller number, so it's 1087 minus 918. Okay. So when I stack those and do that vertically so I can borrow, 1087 minus 918, 7 becomes 17. When I borrow, 8 becomes 7. 17 minus 8 is 9. 7 minus 1 is 6. And let's see, yeah, 10 minus 9 would give me a 1, so $169 million. Okay, so $169 million is the increase from April to May. All right, and then finally here it says, what was the percent increase in sales from April to May to the nearest tenth of a percent? So remember, a percent increase is where you take the increase and divide by the original amount. So that's part G. So what we need to do there is take the amount of the increase, which is 169, and divide it by the original amount, which was the 918. That's what it increased from. Okay. When we do that division, we will find the correct amount. Now, to do this division, we need a little bit of longhand division. So we would take, let's see, 918 divided into 169. Of course, that won't go in evenly. So we'll go to 1,690. 900 goes into 1,600 once, basically. 1 times 918 is 918. When I subtract these, that's going to be a 10, that's going to be an 8. It's 2, 7, 16 minus 9 is 7, so 772. I'm going to bring down another 0, 9, and I'm just going to take the larger digits here, or the larger place values. So 9 goes into 77. Oh, what'd that be? That'd be 8 times. We could try 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Put a 6 up there, that'd be 8 plus 6 is 14. 8 times 9 is 72, that'd be 73. And that looks about right. We'll subtract these, that's 10, that's 1, need to borrow again. That'd be a 6, so 10 minus 4 is 6, 11 minus 4 is 7, 6 minus 3 is 3. I'm going to need one more, actually I'm going to need 2 more. So 9 goes into 37, that'd be 6 times, but I think 6 might get us to, oh, we might try it out. Let's try it out. I'll try this on the side because I don't know for sure that 6 is going to work. It might be too high. 6 times 8 is 48. Let's see, 6 times 1 is 6, and 4 is 10. And it's 36 and 1, 37. Yeah, that'll work. So let's try 6. And that'll give me 3708. 3708. When I subtract the 3708, 60 minus 8 is 52. I did that without borrowing because I kind of saw how that worked. And if I bring down another 0, Notice 900, we're going to 500 0 times. So now I can actually work this out. What I've done is I've rounded this so that I have 1/10%. Right? If I bring my decimal over, this is 18.6%. I needed the last digit here, so I knew how to round this, that 6, the 1/10%. So it's 18.6%. Okay. Cool. So 18.6% is the increase from April to May.